It's Lupin the Third for tweens. Hi everyone, I'm Jacob, I'm the Cowhat Librarian, and I'm here today to talk to you about Under Locker and Key by Allison Hymas. I came across this book a couple years ago and I quite enjoyed it, and it was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to record videos like this one. So, Jeremy is a talented retriever. If you've lost your retainer at school, he'll get it back. If someone's stolen your lunch money, he'll get it back. If a reed from your saxophone has gone missing, he will get it back. And he doesn't charge a dime. If you're feeling especially grateful, he might ask you for a piece of chocolate cake at the school cafeteria. But that's it. He does it for the sake of helping people and doing the right thing. And he's very, very, very good at it. So good that he's attracted kind of a reputation. Now, Jeremy's arch nemesis is Becca Mills. She's the daughter of a lawyer and a police officer, and she's very, very well liked by the school administration. And she doesn't believe that Jeremy's ends justify his means. She doesn't believe that his way of approaching things is appropriate, even if he is rescuing people's belongings that had been misplaced or stolen. Well, as the story begins, Jeremy is going about his retrieving duties, and an older student asks him to retrieve a house key he misplaced, and that ended up in the janitor's closet at the school. Jeremy figures the kid is hiding something, that he's actually trying to retrieve the key on behalf of a girl who lost it to impress her, but he goes ahead and performs the retrieving anyway. He gets the key, gives it to the kid, and off he goes. Well, as it turns out, the key was the master key to the school that can open everything. Doors, lockers, everything. And that kid was going to use that key to destroy Jeremy's reputation and build up one of his own. Now, faced with a challenge this large and daunting and problematic, because Jeremy could not just have his reputation ruined, but get in trouble with the school and the law, he has to turn to help from an unlikely source. For the first time in his life, he has to work with Becca Mills to try to retrieve the master key before any more harm is done. So, over the course of the book, they bicker and Jeremy makes attempts to get information and retrieve the key, and Becca stops him from performing his more outlandish techniques, and they gradually work towards a way that Jeremy can retrieve the key in the end. And it's fantastic. Their relationship very, very much reminds me of that of Lupin the Third and Inspector Zenigata from the classic anime series Lupin the Third. You have this wily, talented, accomplished thief and a dedicated inspector who's always just a half step behind. It's marvelous. Their byplay is great. I believed the characters. It was just flat out wonderfully written. And if you have anyone in your life who enjoys heist movies and the like, they will probably really, really enjoy this. If they enjoyed something like The Great Green Heist by Varian Johnson, they'll probably really, really enjoy this. Now, with that said, there are spoilers ahead because I have to talk about the deal breaker. A few moments ago I mentioned that this book was in part the inspiration for me recording these videos. That's true. Unfortunately, it was the inspiration for this deal breaker section as well. At one point in the story, Jeremy has to break into the thief's locker to try to retrieve the key or get some information. And he holds his ear up to it, he turns the lock, and he figures out the 3 numbers that made up the combination. And he tries one possible order of them, and it doesn't work. He tries a second possible order of them, and it doesn't work. And at that point, he gives up and essentially says that he doesn't know how many possible combinations there could be or how long it could possibly try to take them all. And so he'd have to take an alternate route to get into the locker, namely breaking into it rather than entering the combination. That passage stopped me cold. The author did such an amazing job building up Jeremy as this professional retriever who knew all the ins and outs of everything, and I believed it. I believed it wholeheartedly. I could see this kid operating in a school and knowing all the little things to get around and to find things. The most obvious place that a thief might hide stolen lunch money, or that a retainer might wind up. He's so good at it. And the author and the editor missed this thing. Because if you take a moment and think about it, if there are 3 numbers in the combination, there are exactly 6 orders they could be entered in. That's it. How long does it take to enter one combination lock attempt on a standard lock? 5 seconds? I understand he was in a time crunch in the situation in the book, but for him to not know that when he is such an expert at everything related to retrieval, up to the point where he knows how to listen for the numbers in a combination on a lock and enter them? This is a problem when authors write very clever characters. That just sometimes there's a point where there's an instance where the character should have known better and didn't. It took me right out of the book. I had to stop reading there and pick it up later on because it took me so out of it, it completely destroyed my immersion in the idea that Jeremy was this incredibly talented retriever, because it made him seem like a rank amateur who was trying to do this for the wrong reasons. It was disappointing. And if the reader in your life fixates on details like that, like I did in this case, this might not be the book for them. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. It feels very real. But if they'll be put off by someone who should know something not knowing it, they might have to give this one a miss. As another note, the author did write a sequel to it, and it was fine. It played very much the same notes. The rivalry / cooperation between Jeremy and Becca was there again, and it felt a little less interesting to me. The stakes were very high in this book, and in the sequel, Jeremy is helping to find out who could be sabotaging the contests at an art show, and the winner of the art show was to receive some kind of scholarship, if I remember right. And it was certainly a big deal. I don't want to imply that the stakes were meaningless, but compared to the prospect of being expelled or being arrested for stealing things, the stakes seemed so much lower that I personally had a harder time caring. I really like Jeremy. I think he's an incredible character. I think the author struck gold with her depiction of him. And I hope that if she writes another sequel, she'll get it back up to this level, because I would love to be able to recommend a 3rd book in this series to everyone. With that, thanks for listening, everyone, and please join me next time as I bring something else to talk about from the Cowhat Library. Bye now.